This episode is brought to you by David Redshaw. Stephen!
Andrew!
Fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going into the scripts, flicking through them again, and we are in Series 6, Episode 4? 4, Hurry Up and Wait. And yes, this is our third time officially looking at this episode. If you haven't heard our initial reaction, or our second reaction would be the best one.
I'd go for that one.
I'd go for that one. Go and listen to that first, and then come back and listen to this one, because we will hopefully not dive into too much of the detail that we covered then, although we can't really remember what we said, or at least I can't. So, there may be...
I definitely can't remember what I said on the initial reaction, because I think that was another blackout.
Oh yeah, that was
wake up
initial,
an hour later,
yes.
And we recorded something.
And we did an immediate reaction about 5 minutes after the episode first aired. No idea what we said there, but we did a more measured one a few weeks later than that. So I will link to that in the show notes. We also just want to sort of address an email that we received before we get into this from Richard, asking about stage fright. This is not something I am able to provide the knowledge for. So we'll sort of crowdsource this if anybody can help. He's looking for a ticket, basically. He's looking online. Occasionally a single ticket comes up. They're always £127.75 each. His questions are, is that the standard price, or is that super inflated because they're so scarce? And do you know of any channels where tickets can be found other than the theatre's website? Are there any reseller platforms for people who can't make it? I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. We didn't pay as much as that, but then I know there were areas of the theatre that were more expensive than ours was. But obviously we had a phone being thrown at us for various bits of ours, so that came at a premium.
Nice.
I also don't really know about resellers for theatre tickets either. So, like you say, if anyone can send some information our way.
Yeah, and we'll pass it on to Richard. Or if anyone's got a spare ticket, it might work.
We are now a reselling platform. We take a very modest commission fee if you would like to deal through us.
Yes. Onwards. Hurry Up and Wait. How did you find going back and watching this again with the script?
I like this. I like that it twists you one way and then back another, and then it's got a horrific ending. A really horrific... Sort of, it sneaks up on you a little bit as well, because it doesn't... The whole point of it seems to be about James getting it all wrong. And then it swings back round and he was almost there, but not quite.
Yes. He was on to something, but yes, pulling at the wrong thread. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd either forgotten or hadn't fully appreciated quite how awful Adrian Dunbar is in this episode.
Well, I was trying to figure out, and I don't know if we discussed it first time round, like what he does to James and his lines. I can't work out whether that's just what he does because he's a unpleasant, competitive man who likes to be the centre of attention, or whether it was a direct reaction and to the policeman line, where he said, "Oh, you're playing another policeman," and he thought, "Right, I'll have you."
Whether that was like the instigating moment,
little upstart.
Like, yeah, okay, you're not even going to get your yes.
You have now made an enemy of me, Adrian Dunbar, for your insolence. But yeah, horrible.
I do want, because there is the moment, and we'll kind of go through it in a sec, but there is the moment where he corrects Joe to say that he's happy to stay in the trailer with James,
Get rid of Stan.
Get rid of Stan. So yeah, he's obviously changed his mind about where he wants to be so that he can do that. So yes, I think I would think I'd lean towards this is a spontaneous decision to write this guy out of the entire thing because he said another policeman. Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is just a little side plot or how much of it then actually contributes to James wanting desperately to get something out of this whole situation, which leads him into desperately pulling at threads and pulling at the wrong one. I don't know how consequential Adrian Dunbar is in all that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But I feel like he might be. Because you get the feeling that when it kind of goes into that big scene where he's describing his theory as to what's going on, he's going for his full character and he's doing his best policeman uncovering the crime acting moment, and maybe that's a reaction to essentially being written out of his own part.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, we should I'd like to identify, because it's that moment where there's the kind of replay of the words being said by others, that sort of echoey callback. Oh yeah, now piecing all of that together, and that means this. What's the catalyst for that? We'll get to that. Let's walk through the script. Anything early on that's changed as far as
not massively. There's a recurring thing that there's some talkback stuff that Joe doesn't engage with. A couple of times she supposedly talks back into her mic, but she doesn't actually when it was filmed. She didn't open the car door for him. I noticed he got himself out the door. I guess that's because he's not actually a big enough deal as a bit part character for her to do that. And then the first kind of missing bit was Bev doesn't correct and say it's not a house, it's a static caravan. She doesn't push that.
Yes, that's removed. Yeah, is this your house? Sort of. Which is a much more ambiguous response when it isn't followed by it's not a house, it's a static caravan. Yeah. It's like,
is it your house?
Does that mean it's not yours, or does it mean it's not a house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the Una, the switch that she has between shouting in Bev's face and talking to James at the same time.
Yes.
Just cutting between those two sort of characters that she's doing.
It is a fantastic scene, and actually was surprised how few stage directions there are, because there's obviously lots of awkward pauses and looks between characters, and when James, I think he says lovely in response to the I'm having a glass of champagne, lovely, and then there's this gulping that she's sipping it, and then there's this awkward pause, and then she says, do you want some? And in the script it's just lovely, do you want some? And yeah, I bet they had a lot of fun kind of piecing together how that would play out on screen.
I think I said before that it's weird how the scripts kind of switch between really, really specific direction and then none.
Yeah.
And it kind of grows. And I guess you've got that initial direction in there to give a kind of sense of what sort of atmosphere you want. And then you kind of let it go and grow itself because you've got such good actors involved with it.
Yeah, I could imagine them just playing this out and seeing how far, especially when you've got those pauses and those silences, like how far can you take this without it sort of veering off into completely outrageous, and just let the, especially Bev, like just, who's that? Donna Preston. Yeah, just play it and see what happens. And the kind of the movement of her legs as she's parting them and all of that stuff. Oh man.
Well, when James says later that acting and shooting things is doing it over and over again, this may have been one of those examples.
Yes.
Of it needing to be done over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't notice any other real differences until put your knees together, please, Bev, becomes close your knees. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's any significance in that, but other than maybe it just felt like a more natural thing to say. Though closing your knees that sounds painful.
It does.
Open knees. Ow.
Then a reclosing of them. Sounds awful. There was another missing talkback thing from Joe. I've noted that when Stan arrives home, this is where the stage directions became very specific. Yes. Once the brown has been potted.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, yeah, you've got the snooker directions.
Yeah, horrendous evacuation reverberates around the toilet bowl.
It's so good.
It is. I love that those little directions are in there.
Yeah, I just got a note that I wrote. It was planned.
Yeah. And then when the scene then goes on with James talking about how difficult life is as an actor, his lack of self-awareness is quite incredible. His inability to read that situation and go, I need to stop talking now, rather than digging an even deeper hole about.
It's amazing.
Sometimes we get called very early for it.
Because we need to have breakfast.
Yeah. And go into makeup.
Yeah. Fantastic. Just going back a couple of bits. Noticed a cut to go when Una and Bev are having the conversation about, well, after that, close your knees. And then she says, I am. And then she's such a tomboy. It's nice having someone to talk to. I never had friends because they never let me go out. And then Una says, of course we let you out. But in the script, it's, of course, we let you go out. And I thought, there's a big difference between those
one
two.
One sounds like a pet being released into the back garden,
exactly.
And the other one's actually going on a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
true.
so that sort of contributes to that seeding of her, or Bev being, what's his name?
Infantilized
and the missing boy.
Oh, Ryan.
The missing baby, Ryan, yeah.
Let you out.
Let you out. There's kind of like a to have and to hold kind of.
Yeah, there is.
Yes, and then we meet. Do we meet? Oh no, we don't meet Adrian until.
Well, he's about to appear, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, there's a couple of. When James is talking about the story, or like the real stuff. Yeah, it's a really good cliffhanger for the end of episode 1. What do you think happened to him? Were you living here at the time? And then Una says, in the script, Una says no, Stan says yeah. But actually it's the other way around.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think. I watched it a couple of times.
And she has to then justify her no.
Yeah.
Right. And then
no, she changes her yes to a no, I think. So she justifies Stan's no, which is probably more realistic for that sort of...
I guess so, yeah.
The vibe in that couple, because it's like, yeah, I think what Stan says probably goes.
Yeah. They then... in fact, leading directly on from that is when Bev suddenly goes, I know what really happened. And rather than Una saying Beverly, they just kind of look at her and wait. I guess that...
Yeah. Kind of, that brings an ambiguity in...
Well, her coming out, them going Beverly and shutting it down suggests that there is actually something
yeah.
there that isn't.
Yeah, whereas the look would be like, oh yeah, you know what happened? Or it's a
don't tell him about...
Don't you dare. Yeah.
Don't tell him about the doll money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's a really nice actually taking out that opens up the potential communication. Communication? Why does it say communication?
Because you love communication. Everything with you, mate, is about communication.
Yeah.
So then we meet Dunbar shortly after that. Dunbar, who initially... A lot of this stuff is very similar. Although Dunbar goes off script a bit more and is a bit more sort of free with... And I guess that kind of weirdly echoes his character in it, really, where he's kind of plays a bit fast and loose with some of the phrasing, but generally it's very much...
He's so good. The way that he dominates and responds to what's going on. Like, there's the bit where he's kind of slightly humiliating James in saying it'd be good to go through that later. The director's a sweetheart, but he gives you no rehearsal. That's the problem with these little tellies. Well, I don't have to tell you this. I'm sure you've done loads. It's like, he knows full well he hasn't, I think, and he's making that point. And then James says bits and bobs, and Adrian repeats it, which isn't in the script. He just bits and bobs. And there's just a really well played little mirror of that. And I think he does, just reflect bits and plays off.
Not only does he not know that not only does he know that he hasn't done that many of them, he's just described them as little tellies. Even if he has done loads of them, that's very much pigeonholed him and put him in the, you just do little bits in little tellies. That's your...
Yeah. Very condescending.
And I guess that's kind of a bit of a... We see that echoed later in when they're talking in Plodding On about these being little films, or whatever it is, because Steve's quite disparaging about them at that point, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And I wonder if that's an intentional... Got that
feeling in them, maybe.
A callback to that, yeah. They also he adds dinosaur in front of Shawl.
Dinosaur added into Shawl here, and I think taken out later.
Right.
So I think it disappears later from one of the bits when they're talking about it in the actual script for The Thing, because it went in here. Maybe they just moved it. Yeah, he actually said, he doesn't actually say it'd be good to go through that later. He switched it to something like, I was hoping you and I could get together later, or something along those lines.
Yes, he does, yeah.
Which actually feels a bit more proactive than just saying, if we get a chance, we can go through it. It's, I'm hoping we can get together and do it. But I guess that's because he may have already decided that he is absolutely planning to rip every line away from this guy.
So that would, that kind of indicates that he's already decided that, rather than responding to
the next bit.
The next bit. Yeah, you're playing another policeman.
And of course, I love you in Line of Duty as well. Another policeman. Sorry. In this, you're playing another policeman. I'm playing him totally differently to Ted. Totally differently. Like chalk and cheese is not the same performance at all.
his defensive reaction to that is great.
I also like that Line of Duty exists in this universe.
Yeah. Stan gets involved in the conversation, doesn't he? Put your foot in there.
Yeah, he doesn't say that in the scripts, though, does he?
Not in the script, no.
They dropped a Steve line in there and said, you put your foot in that there, didn't you? I don't know whether they needed to make it more obvious that James had completely embarrassed himself at this point. Yeah.
And that's where Adrian is asking whether he's staying here with the guys.
He there's an undirected bit there where Adrian pulls Joe to one side to say something after he's come out with that. To say, right, can we get rid of this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. And then the apartheid happens.
The apartheid happened.
And that Adrian gets back on it.
He's back on his defensive.
I mean, Hastings parts his hair to the left, whereas Giles has it more swept back. Very different.
Love that. The hair swooping is integral to his character.
All about, yeah. Yes.
I Oh yeah, and as Joe leaves, Joe's heading out again for the cup of it's the cup of tea bit.
Yeah.
It says in the script that James was going to ask for a cup for his tea, but actually switched it back to him making another plea for wardrobe.
Do we know what it is that he's after with the costume department?
It's something to do with his watch, isn't it?
Is it?
Is he concerned that his watch is going to be an anachronism? Is it one of those things where he's wearing a watch and he's concerned that it's not the right kind of watch and it'll...
Does he mention it?
No. He mentioned his watch at the beginning, I think.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
That's a good question. I just missed that.
I'm going to have a quick look. Yes. Thanks. Is it possible to have a quick word with costume? Because my watch... That was right back at the beginning. So I think that's what he's going on about.
So you've sort of...
That's what I pieced together.
Yeah.
That's what I think it might... Well, because I don't know what else it would be. I need a new watch.
Because my watch is stuck at 2:00.
And that's why maybe that's why it feels like time is standing still while he's sat in his caravan.
Yes. Hurry up and wait. Everything makes sense. It's all about the watch.
Broken watch. Right twice a day. Unfortunately, this was neither of those times.
Yes.
Maybe there's something in that. A stopped clock or a broken watch. And him having some kind of theory about this whole situation. But there's something there it needs fleshing out. I'll be honest.
Something. I think the watch is absolutely integral to this entire episode.
It's all about the watch. In a way, this series is all about timepieces. But in a way that it's probably... No, don't.
I'll get there.
You gave it the eyes.
Do you know what? I think you might be right.
Well, we all sit down and watch them together.
Yeah, we watched all these episodes. No, we'll get there.
Okay.
Inspector Giles charges from the room, closely followed by the Bobby. Oh yeah, that's cut.
Yeah.
Is that just a stage direction from the script when they're acting it out?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he didn't read the stage direction. Yeah. Yes.
And he says there's real emotion in that last line, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Because James really gives it to him. Yes. I think we've got him, Guff. I think we've got the bastard.
And I like that. It goes from James being quite proud of the fact that the emotion from that last line is from his delivery, but actually then it's Jeff.
It's Jeff. Or Justin.
Yeah, I love that he gets the wrong name wrong.
Oh yeah.
He changes the change name. It's scripted as Josh and Dunbar says Justin. So not only is it the wrong name.
Does he wrong name him Jeff?
He's wrong names
there. Oh, Jeff Pope, yes. And then he gets Josh. Yeah,
Josh becomes Josh. I've just been going through the scene 42 with Josh, but he says scene 42 with Justin.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wrong names the wrong name.
Which is, you only know if you've got the script.
Actually, it doesn't matter. Just any name beginning with a J that isn't James. I did enjoy the Joe coming back for the minute silence. But the whole point of a minute silence is like it's a collective thing, isn't it? Everyone does one together so they can all acknowledge that moment together. The idea of going around and filming people having their own little minute silence, you can stitch them together, especially with it apparently not mattering that he goes to the toilet during his minute silence.
Yeah.
Just going to pop out.
Yeah. Where's the minute silence?
There's the chat between James and Una.
Oh, yeah, I've got you.
So that's kind of starting to seed things, I guess, for him. And this is the thing, he's just had his kind of humiliation and now he's probably looking for something to get him back in the game at this point. And I guess this is where he might go into kind of imagination overdrive a little bit. So
he goes into the bathroom. Oh, it's the birthday line that triggers him, isn't it? The minute silence for Ryan, something Adrian's requested. Lovely,
would have been
Adrian.
his birthday.
Would have been his birthday.
Yeah.
But isn't it? Oh, that must mean that Bev is Ryan. Because she's a tomboy.
Especially when they now have the conversation about they did live there and they did know the mother and all those kind of things.
I do like the fact that, because it's all those tropes from kind of TV detective things where everything suddenly falls into place. Yeah. And, oh yes, that's why they said that. And that's why she sits like she does. And Una called her
wearing
a
tracksuit in the picture.
Yeah. All of it. It all makes sense. But no.
Can I have a word with you in private? And then he goes off at Jo, who looks like she's listening to all this and taking it really intently and taking it all in. She's actually just got someone in her ear. I also like they drop the line. So James has gone on about all of this stuff and told her all of the things that he started to think he's uncovered. So James, that's 15 complete. We're going to go and rehearse 42 with yourself and Adrian. What were you just saying? You wanted to see someone from costume? I like that they dropped that thing about the costume thing because it implies that she'd actually been paying any attention to him at any other point. She hadn't. She had not heard any of those requests.
She has no intention of putting him in touch with costume or getting him a cup of tea.
She doesn't care.
No, those things are out.
So it's all very similar from here.
Yeah. I love the line, I don't know if you're going to talk about something before this, but the line from Bev about, in response to James asking if she has any photographs of herself as a baby, she says, not many. They didn't have cameras then. Yeah. They just had phones. I don't think I'd noticed that before.
Which came first?
It's a great line.
It's good. It was around that time. In fact, it was just before that. It was, just after that. The name on the blanket, Ryan's name, isn't faded. It says in the directions that it's really faded, but actually, no, it's brand new stitching.
Which would suggest it is the costume shawl.
Yeah, although it could both not and not be. Since we find out that at the end that she did have him.
Yes.
She did take him. It might just be that they're now using the actual one in the drama.
Yeah, that's
taking it.
Dark little, yes, factoid about the film.
They actually,
it's actually the
find that on IMDb. Actually, did use the real shawl.
Was the shawl? The shawl was found, right? Didn't they find the shawl? Was that part of it?
Don't think so, because it says that the baby was possibly wrapped in a dinosaur shawl when it was taken.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So no.
So the dinosaur shawl.
Baby. Oh yeah. Baby Ryan's shawl not seen in over 20 years. What's that doing here? Oh, good, you found it.
Yeah.
Stan got a little bit extra. He doesn't say what's going on here. Steve comes in and says, "What the fuck is going on here?" Because that's what Stan would say.
I really feel the power of Stan in the. I don't see him as Steve. There's a Stanliness to this.
There is,
character.
and I really don't like the lines about the police checking his hard drive and stuff. It's all horrible.
Yes, which James kind of just lets go.
Yeah.
In a way that he wouldn't let go
your
later.
Hard drive?
Yeah. Although maybe he's just taking it in, just collecting.
Oh, yeah, he didn't bring that back in either, did he? You'd have thought that would be part of his
piecing together.
His delivery of stuff. The police have already been around thinking that you had something to do with this.
And now I've just blown this case wide open. It goes all the way to the top. It always goes all the way to the top.
Does. Yeah. And then it runs. I love the little, after when they're watching the actual final filmed episode in the thing and Adrian delivers his lines and then James kind of just sort of toddles off looking a little bit dazed with his massive black eye.
Yeah, he does. It's so bad.
So this got a little wobbly head as he goes.
Yeah, and it's when you see him nodding from behind as well, and it's like a really exaggerated nod. Oh, poor James.
I really think we've got the bastard.
Yes, very good. Yeah, and then
little skelly hand.
Yeah, I remember this kind of divided people a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I can't remember what I thought first time round, but I thought it was horrifically dark, a bit psycho vibes with Mrs. Bates.
Yes, very much psycho vibes. Yeah, and the question of, do Una and Stan have any idea? Do they know?
I don't think they do. Because she's hiding it from them, isn't she, as well? She's kind of tucking it in. But I also want to know how the body went through the stages of decomposition to get to that.
She must have kept it somewhere for a while. And then
horrible.
Got herself a new doll. I don't know.
Debbie's got a brand new doll.
Yeah, and that's it. So a few differences, but not a huge number. Kind of played out more or less as it seems they imagined it would. But with those added, I guess, directions that they would have found as they were filming.
What I do like sometimes is when we look back at these things and some things that seem fairly inconsequential kind of just serve to punctuate bits in the episode. It's like, okay, that changed that, which made that better. That line was changed because that. It doesn't have a big impact. It's not some crazy thing that's just happened. It's just a case of, actually, that works a lot more and actually serves things a little bit better later on.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You kind of see the genius at work, I guess, when you see the things that just got taken out or added in, and it, as you say, punctuate, I think is a good word. Just like lets things really move and run in
and I think it also it kind of speaks a little bit to the fact that they're clearly working with people that they're happy just to kind of move things around, and if they feel like something serves a character better, then it changes, and that may just be a way they deliver a line or the way that they turn a phrase. Yeah, definitely. Just justifying our flick through the scripts, really.
No, it's a joy. If anything, like it's just a joy to do it. So I don't mind if everyone else hates it. I still just do it. So it's yeah. I mean, it might be, especially to those who don't have the script books, it might come across as completely confusing to hear us talk in the way that we do. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's fun to do.
Well, if they haven't got the script books, that gives you more of a reason to listen. Because if you have got them, you could probably just do this yourself.
You just do this yourself, yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and if you have or haven't got the script book and would like to get in touch, then you can drop us an email, aquietnightinside09@gmail.com, or get in touch via Blue Sky at AQNIN9. And if you would like to sponsor a future episode, then drop us a few quid on PayPal. The link will be in the show notes. You can send us any amount that you like, and we will give you a shout out if you want a shout out at the start of a future episode, as we did with David today and Alison last week, which I added in later because even at this point of recording this episode, I haven't released the lip service episode. It's been sat there for 3 weeks.
We've recorded a whole episode about the stage show in between as well.
We now have 3 episodes recorded.
Just sort of banking them.
Yeah, just making a huge amount of work for myself, and it's just all sort of sat there. But, you know. Anyway, I don't know. You didn't need to know that.
This is a little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Seeing how the sausages are made.
How the sausage is just left to stagnate.
And on the note of stagnant sausages, we'll leave you.
Yes, we will finish on the note of stagnant sausages. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.